All right, guys, welcome back. And today we're going to talk about part two of a big mashup episode. And we are talking about Justice Ducks Part 2. Welcome to the St. Canard Files, a Darkwing Duck podcast. I'm your host, Will Santana, and
I'm Mike Russo. And remember, sports fans, the fun begins when I throw the switch.
the switch. Man, that was a big running gag in this one.
An episode full of running gags.
Oh yeah, Mike. So today we're going to talk about part two. I don't know. I've never seen them like together really. I've always had to watch them separate, and I know you're kind of like you're combining them. Did we rate? Yeah, we rated them last time, right? The part one. Okay, so are we going to rate part two today, or are we just going to go ahead and?
Well, what we'll do, we'll go through the episode, and when we wrap up, we'll rate the episode individually, and then we'll compare them. We'll talk about the strengths of both episodes, and we'll see if either one is stronger than the other.
Okay. Real quick though, Mike, before we jump into this, do you think most people favor the bad guys on this episode instead of the good guys? Because, you know, like with Marvel and DC, people tend to favor the good guys.
Without question, it's the bad guys.
Okay, so it's kind of like Star Wars then. I think more people lead toward the dark side than following the Jedis, you know?
Yeah, at the end of this episode, we're going to be rating both teams, and that's what I'm going to give you my thoughts about which one I think works better and why I think one's more popular than the other. But So let's just, what we should do? Usually we spend a little bit of time talking about, lots of stuff leading up to the episode, but you know what? Let's just dive right in. Let's just get started with this one because it basically picks up exactly where the last one left off, like literally. So really quick, getting it out of the way, super, super fast. This one aired Thursday, October 3rd, 1991. It was 45th in production order. Of course it was. It had to have been.
Yep.
The story editor was the same. It's Dwayne Capizzi again, and the writers are the same too. Like I said last time, Kevin Campbell, Brian Swinlin. And I love that it's the same writers and the same everything because it gives the two episodes a sense of consistency.
Yeah.
They're like, even Darkly Dawns the Duck didn't have because they jumped animation studios between episodes. Both of these are Sun Wu and as strong as each other. So you can cut these together into 1 hour long episode, and this consistency is perfect here. But yeah, so that's all we need to know going in. So let's just jump in. Here's our plot.
All right.
So what happened to Darkwing in the last episode?
He was falling off the rooftop.
And he's still falling off the rooftop.
Yep. And while he's falling, we got the Fearsome Five just watching down below.
In the last episode, they were watching from a window. Here they're at the very top of the building.
Yeah.
They move fast.
But we'll see somebody else move fast in the building too later on.
Yes, absolutely.
So where does Darkwing land?
Into a garbage truck. and
St. Canard's change. Oh, go ahead.
This is it's like I've been saying, tons and tons of running gags. This garbage truck comes back. But yes, you're right, Will. St. Canard has changed. What's different?
Oh man, everything's changed, man. From the moment he fell off the roof. From the moment he falls off the roof.
How long was I out? He says.
5 minutes, wasn't it? But we got two doctors who are bringing money to Megavolt to get their power cut back on in the hospital.
Right, and in the few seconds Darkwing was falling, Megavolt's got a lighted billboard on top of the hospital of his own face.
Bushroot, what's he? He's his plants are terrorizing the streets.
Right, little spikes.
Yeah, little spikes. I forgot about Spike.
You know what? It's funny. Somebody asked Tad a while back if those plants were supposed to be Spike. I believe the answer was it should have been something else, but since they're always on a deadline, they just had to reuse Spike's design for that. So that's why they're both Spike. And the people who are being terrorized run for the police, and what do they get instead?
They get Quacker Jack's toy teeth. They're the police now.
Aren't they wearing police hats?
Yep.
Help, police! Help, police!
Yeah. And then Darkwing keeps walking. He's moping. He's like, I should have teamed up. It's too late. I let
Yep.
everybody down, and
Mm-hmm.
he walks into water. And
Yep.
what part of the town is that, Mike?
It's Liquidator's part of town. Boy, the Fearsome Five took over the city in 5 minutes. That's what they say.
Hmm.
So yeah, the Fearsome Five, they work fast, and now we cut to the bridge, the hideout, and Goslin and Launchpad and Morgana and Stegmutt and Neptunia are there trying to figure out what do we do next.
Yeah. Gizmo wants the team to split up, and he starts trying to give them a pep talk, and he's hyping them up.
Gizmoduck bursts right through the wall. So yeah, Gizmoduck bursts right through the wall and takes charge almost immediately. And he just starts telling everybody what he wants them to do, but Neptunia wants none of it.
Yeah, she says she's got to get back in the water before she dries out.
Yeah, and you know her, she's not really keen on helping people. It's not her thing.
No.
And Morgana tries to make her stay with her moisture cream. Neptunia's not interested, and so she leaves.
Yeah.
And so yeah, their team seems to be dwindling, Gizmoduck says. But you know what? Gizmoduck is he's in rare form right now because he asks Morgana if she has a power to find a villain's hideout. She says she's not sure, and Gizmoduck goes, "Good."
Yeah. But Gosling wants to find Darkwing,
Of
and
course, yeah, she's worried about him.
yeah, but Gizmo won't let her do it, so he sends Stegmud instead, so he can go give Darkwing his change, the 25 cents still.
Stegmutt wouldn't be in this story if he didn't want to give him his change.
Yeah, and Gizmo's job is to cut off the electric wall.
Yeah. Gizmoduck's going to go to the power company. Stegmutt's looking for Darkwing, and Morgana's going to find the hideout. So everybody splits up. And the first character we check back on is Neptunia.
Yeah, she's with Hal.
Yeah, Hal, her octopus. And we get another running gag. It's just so many running gags. Hal's trying to tell her something, and she doesn't understand him. And remember what her guess is? Somebody fell into Devil's Gorge and has a compound fracture of the lower mandible. It's so oddly specific. It's not my fault I can't understand you. Maybe you've had a mouth. So yeah, he takes her over to Liquidator.
Yeah, Liquidator's he's ripping people off. He's trying to sell life rafts or rafts,
for $1 million.
Yeah, and he's like, we'll take down payment. We'll take if you have bad credit. Don't matter.
Yeah, we haven't met Liquidator before his mutation yet, but he was always a crook.
Oh yeah.
Unlike Megavolt and Bushroot, he didn't start off innocent and a good guy. He was always a crook, and he's still a crook. And I'm gonna tell you, I get why they didn't do many solo Liquidator episodes because, he's flooded that city. Everybody's high and dry, and he's in total control.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got everyone right where he wants them. He is one powerful villain, I gotta tell you. And so Neptunia realizes, maybe she should do something.
Yeah, so Neptunia and Liquidator, they get into a brawl. They go at it toe to toe.
Yep, how's that go?
She handles her own at first. She gets him in that little spin where she makes him like a whirlpool, but she runs into the electrical wire.
Yeah, and it knocks her out.
Yeah, she's out cold and she's defeated.
It's a great scene for Liquidator. Like I said it with the last episode. You don't know who he is when you first meet him here, but you see he's a really great villain. I do enjoy Liquidator. And so next up, it's Morgana. And she gets
versus
lucky.
Bushroot.
She finds the hideout.
Mm-hmm.
She does find it. And for the first time, she mentions Archie by name.
Yep.
So we know his name. If we didn't know it before, we know it now. And something's going on behind her in the bushes.
Yeah, something's going on there. We got Bushroot.
Yeah, I'd love to know what he was doing back there because he looks really ashamed of himself when she catches him.
Yeah.
Do you hear what sounds like Spike back there? And she parts the bushes and he's totally shocked. And even Eek and Squeak freak out. Whatever they saw. But anyway, it's left to your imagination.
But Mike,
and Morgan, yeah.
Oh, when Morgana pops up in this scene and Bushroot notices her, did you notice like she's in the middle of the screen and she floats across and they never show her feet?
I don't even know if Morgana even has feet.
She's like literally floating in the air, man. Like you can see her just float across the screen. I'm like, where's her feet?
I'd love to know if they ever address that, like in the series Bible or with the writers. Like, by the way, never show her feet, because we never do find out what her legs and her feet look like. Not that I'm dying to see, but I'm really curious. So
Mike,
he meant what?
No, I was gonna say. So what happens? Morgana and Bushroot, they go at it toe to toe now.
Yeah, she sends Eek and Squeak at him, and again, this is the first time they mention Eek and Squeak. She has them attack him, and for a split second, there are 3 bats attacking Bushroot. Animation mistake. So his Venus flytraps eat Eek and Squeak, munch him and swallow him.
Yeah, she's not happy about that one bit though. She freaks out.
No, so she turns the flytraps into daisies, and Eek and Squeak get away.
Yeah, but then she gets caught up though. Bushroot gets a tree at her, sends a tree to her.
Yeah, Bushroot can take care of himself if he has. He isn't scared of her. When Darkwing comes along, Bushroot gets scared. He isn't scared of Morgana. He ties her up with ivy and then whacks her right out with a big tree. The tree just smacks her.
Yeah, the thing about Bushroot is you got to pick where you battle him, because if he's near plants and trees, he's going to have the advantage, you know?
Absolutely. He's lucky that big tree was right there. And, yeah, he knocks her out, and, you know, we see that Archie's okay. Yeah. We get a little shot of Archie reacting. They reuse the animation later on of him, like, freaking out and trying to run away. And, but Bushroot admits she does a pretty good Daisy, you know? And next up is Mr. Stegmutt.
And Quackerjack.
Yeah. Stegmutt's so stupid. I don't even know if he's lovably stupid or just stupid. He puts on a disguise. What's his disguise?
Oh, you put on the glasses with the big nose and the mustache?
Yeah, the Groucho glasses. And that's enough. That's gonna disguise him, because anybody could be a villain. And as soon as he shows up, like, these bystanders flip out. A dinosaur and a fake nose and glasses. Oh, it's funny because it's so dumb. But so what does Quackerjack do?
He sends his toys at him.
You notice his toy soldiers are actually humans?
Yeah, they look like nutcrackers or something.
Yeah, it's the same toy soldiers he uses in Toys R Us. It's the same design. Yeah. And Stegmutt turns around and whacks him with his tail. And
Quackerjack comes back quick.
Yeah, and again, the bus driver that drops him off is a human being. I don't know if you noticed that. It's just it's a human being driving the bus. And so Quackerjack knocks him out with some sleeping gas, and Stegmutt's out for the count. Yeah. That wasn't too hard.
But now we get a good one, though. We get a big one. We get a Gizmoduck versus Megavolt.
And the two of them have met before. Yeah. Because Up and Awry was also before this one as well. And the two of them got together and fought in that one. So, as Megavolt often does, he always makes me laugh. Like, really laugh. The two doctors are like whining at him that they need electricity to run the hospital, and Megavolt goes, "Oh, boo hoo hoo." Megavolt's funny, and I think it's his first line of the episode, and I'm already laughing at him. And Gizmoduck is up on the building, notices what's going on, jumps off the roof, and lands on Megavolt's foot. Yeah, and doesn't realize how much pain Megavolt's in.
Yeah, because he's too busy. He's pulling a Darkwing move here. He's bragging. He's being conceited. So like
Gizmoduck gets lost in talking about himself sometimes.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know if it's being conceited as much as it's just he doesn't know how to shut up. Because that was always Fenton's thing. He was good with words, but he never was able to stop himself. Fenton always went overboard. And he doesn't even notice that Megavolt is plugging something into his back. What does Megavolt do to Gizmoduck?
Well, he tied up a plug to both of them and shocks them.
Yeah, and Gizmoduck's weapons go crazy, and he passes out too.
Yeah, what did he say? His
Gizmos are akimbo. Kimbo, like that. Gizmos are akimbo. that's it. All our heroes are done. They're out cold, actually. And you mentioned something about Morgana in this next scene.
Yeah. Okay, so we get to the next scene, and Negaduck's bragging about Saint Canard, how he captured the Justice Duck, and they're all in a pile except for Morgana. She gets brought in, and she's thrown on top of the piles. Now she's on top, and we can see her from the back. Her feet are still not showing.
Morgana doesn't have feet.
Yeah,
She's a ghost.
I don't know what it is, but her feet will never show, I guess, man.
Speaking of feet, Archie has 8 of them, and Archie gets away. Nobody notices him. He just jumps right past Bushroot. Nobody notices. And so yeah, that's the end of our first act. Negaduck implies that he's got big plans for these guys. All the heroic Avengers he said Avengers, actually. He calls them the heroic Avengers. I'm going to take dirt naps right alongside Darkwing. So Archie goes up the tower, finds Goslin and Launchpad, and Launchpad steps on Archie.
Oh, poor Archie.
Poor Archie. And so Archie tries to tell Goslin what happened, and we get a call back to that joke with Hal. The Devil's Gorge compound fracture joke. That's what Launchpad's guesses. But Goslin gets it. There isn't an episode before this where Goslin meets Archie. That's later. But she clearly knows who he is because she calls him old pal, which is sweet. So she assumes she'll never see anybody again, especially Darkwing, and she runs right past him. And this is the ultimate scene of Darkwing being like super pathetic. I've mentioned before, Darkwing pathetic is one of my favorite types of Darkwings. Here he's melodramatic. Oh man, Darkwing is he's wallowing in self-pity right now.
Oh yeah, man. He's pretty pathetic. He's like making comments saying that he should have joined the team instead of being all alone, and he
calls
wishes
himself Spud Mothering Jackanate.
Yeah, and he's feeling he let Saint Canard down. He should have been a team player. But little does he know, this is his time to shine. He doesn't realize it yet, though.
Yeah, Launchpad and Goslin keep trying to tell him, and he's not getting it.
He's not getting it at all. He's too busy moping.
Yeah, and he finally comes back from it and realizes that, we can be a team. It'll work out. The Fearsome Five shall fall. And then he asks, so where is everybody? And they tell him that they've been captured, and immediately Darkwing turns
right back to his old self. He's cocky, like I
guess I gotta go save him. That's it. Darkwing is he has his confidence back, and Okay, so coming up, this is my favorite sequence in the entire episode.
Yeah, this is a great sequence. It's not my favorite one, but go ahead.
This is where Negaduck begins to shine.
Oh, he definitely does.
I said it last time that we haven't seen much of Negaduck so far, and we don't quite have a bead on who he is, but this is when it really happens. Negaduck has a torture room in his building, and he has each of the good guys hooked up to something that's designed to kill them. And what's he got Gizmoduck hooked up to?
He had Gizmo hooked up to the thing that brought Frankenstein alive.
Yeah, kind of. He's like strapped to like a table with like jumper cables all over him. And he's sucking out his energy of the Gizmo suit, and then plans to reverse the charge and fry him.
Yeah, he had that Tunya under a big lamp, right?
Yeah, he calls them nuclear fusion sun lamps.
Morgana her head was gonna get squashed.
Yeah, a mystical power draining vice. And he plans to crush her head.
And then Stegma was like somewhere where there was no gravity.
Yeah, it's a gravity chamber, and he's gonna suck the air out and suffocate him.
Now, let me say something before you talk about your favorite scene on here. This is where I really feel Jim Cummings was able to really separate the two characters.
Right.
This is where you finally got, even though it's Jim, it's two different Jims here. The personality, the voice, the laughter, like the evilness in his voice is there, man. Like
I know Negaduck was always hard on Jim's throat, but I could tell he loved doing it.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, go ahead, take your scene away.
No, yeah, I mean it's already the scene's already in full swing because
Hmm.
Jim is just having most of the scene is just Negaduck talking. Like Gizmoduck gets one line and like Stegmutt says like one quick thing. Otherwise, it's just Jim like
Hmm.
having the time of his life voicing Negaduck in this scene. Like it's so much fun to listen to him. And then like this is like the most iconic part of the episode. He keeps saying he's gonna throw the switch. But when he gets ready to kill everybody, he hits a button. Nothing happens. Everyone is like wincing. Oh no, it's gonna happen. Nothing. And Negaduck's like screwing with everybody. You know? He's like, oops, that's not it. And he goes for like a small like switch, goes for that one. Nothing happens. He goes, that's not it. So it must be. And then he gets this big, gigantic switch, which was clearly the one that he had to use the whole time.
Yeah.
And there's a beautiful shot now. It's taken from behind Negaduck's back, starting on the right side of the room. And the camera pans across all the good guys who are tied up
Yeah.
as you see lightning flashing in the window. And
Mhm.
even the music cue is great. And Negaduck's laughing and like it's really fantastic.
Yeah, you know it's about to go down, you know.
And just before he pulls the switch, there's a commotion from the other room. Now,
They're
you're still
fighting.
you're still focused on Negaduck, because he's the one in the shot. And he goes, "Oh, give me just a little break." But in the background, did you hear the argument Megavolt and Bushroot are having?
I couldn't hear what they were saying, but they were fighting over the liquidator, wasn't it? The liquidator
Well,
messed up the city or
no,
something.
well, they will, but if you hear it in the background, it's very, very vague, but you can hear it. Megavolt goes, "Get out of my way, you weed." And Bushroot goes, "Who you calling a weed, plughead? Go put your head in a socket." The two of them, and then, Negaduck bursts into the room, and you see all four of them tangled up with each other.
Hmm.
And they're just not getting along. This is the first time we can tell this team is not quite working the way Negaduck wished it would,
Yeah.
because Megavolt is complaining Liquidator shorts out the power company, and Bushroot's whining, because Bushroot whines about everything, that Quackerjack's toys are trampling his plants.
Yeah. And then Negaduck comes with an idea to split Saint Canard in 4 parts.
Okay, so we get a few firsts with Negaduck here. Some big firsts. Very big firsts. First is the chainsaw.
It's very
And
big.
these days, what's Negaduck without a chainsaw? Like,
Hmm.
seriously. I know we had the shotgun. We talked about that last time, but they stopped using that. Negaduck is Negaduck. He's not Negaduck without the chainsaw. And this is the first time he pulls it out. In fact, the chainsaw is such an iconic weapon for him. Didn't you go crazy in the new DuckTales episode where Jim Starling pulled out the chainsaw and did
Oh, yeah.
Negaduck's voice?
Hmm.
That's when I knew he was Negaduck. So yeah, he pulls out a chainsaw. That's one. Then in the shadow he casts against the wall, they draw him with sharp teeth. Now
Oh,
that's
yeah.
that's not something he's gonna have very much in the show, but at this point, like
It's iconic.
it's like Negaduck has sharp teeth. In the comic book, James Silvani drew him with sharp teeth. And have you seen Tad Stone's most recent drawings of Negaduck these days?
Yes, I have.
Tad's drawings of Negaducks are sick.
Hmm.
And sick in a good way. Like, he has sharp teeth, crazy Jekyll and Hyde eyes, and yeah, the sharp teeth thing. They didn't do it much in the show, but that's Negaduck now, the sharp teeth. And so he takes the chainsaw and he splits the model of St. Canard into 4 sections. And as he's doing that, his eyes go crazy too.
Yeah.
Like, also, yeah, Negaduck these days, when they draw him, like in the comic and on New DuckTales, he has crazy eyes too.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's come a long way design-wise. So he says to the other 4, this is your empire. It's yours, one for each of you, but he gets the loot.
Yeah, he get it. Man, that was a big pile of loot.
And when they complain, he just takes the chainsaw and revs it up, and they back off.
Yeah.
Even though I doubt the chainsaw could possibly hurt Liquidator or knock Bushroot out for very long, they're still scared of him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Negaduck's terrifying to these guys. So Negaduck leaves, and
Darkwing shows up.
yeah, just as Negaduck's about to tell him to eat hot death, the intercom rings, and it's Darkwing downstairs acting like a receptionist, calling up to Negaduck. he tells him Negaduck has flowers, and when Negaduck's like, I hate flowers, Darkwing is like, I meant skulls. And
Negaduck gets excited.
He licks his lips. So Negaduck comes down and discovers Darkwing's stretching on a rubber band and knocks him out with an anvil.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I don't know if this was intended as a running gag. There was an anvil in the last episode too. Negaduck dropped one on Gizmoduck. So now Darkwing hits him with an anvil too, and we're going to see an anvil again later too.
Wouldn't it be funny if the anvil had Acme on it? Even though I know they couldn't do that because that was Warner's.
Acme's a Warner's thing, yeah. Or if the anvil said hi there, like Dr. Strangelove.
Oh yeah.
So he knocks him out, and he pulls out. He goes, "I dented my anvil," and we get another yep from Jim. Yep. And so the other guys upstairs, the rest of the Fearsome Five, are planning a mutiny.
Yep.
So, you know, Megavolt thinks it's unfair. Bushroot Liquidator think it's unfair. You know who else thinks it's unfair?
Go for it.
Banana Brain.
Oh yeah, that's right. Cause
he doesn't like it either. And one of my favorite scenes, the four of them get together and go, "Let's kill Negaduck." And when they're saying that, Quackerjack takes Banana Brain. He sticks him out like he's saying it too.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's actually kind of cute the way he uses Banana Brain. So Darkwing walks in. He's dressed as Negaduck, except for the purple mask.
Yeah,
because,
that's funny. He kept the purple mask. Yeah, that's how you can still always tell who's who.
They do that for the kids, just so the kids don't get confused. And he comes in, and everyone jumps him. And this is another one of my favorite scenes because it's just so funny. So they're trying to beat up Darkwing, and you got Bushroot by the door going, "Kill Negaduck, kill Negaduck." And Negaduck walks in. He's like, "Kill who?" And everyone realizes how badly they screwed up.
Yeah.
You know? And they're trying to like explain their way out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so Negaduck tells everyone just to grab him. You know, they all jump on Darkwing. And again, these guys are strong enough to just they can easily overpower Darkwing. You know?
But we get your gag back.
What gag?
The switch.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Will. So yeah, next scene, they have Darkwing restrained. And yeah, Negaduck goes to pull the switch, and he goes, "The fun begins when I throw." I don't quite get this joke, if it's the hero saying it or it's like the audience at home who are fed up. Mm-hmm. Somebody goes, we know, the switch.
I thought it was the heroes that said it.
I feel like it's supposed to be a meta joke, like the audience is already kind of sick of the gag, but I think I might be reading into it a bit too much. You know?
Yeah, so I didn't see that.
Yeah, I'm probably just imagining it. So Darkwing and Negaduck are pulling on the switch back and forth, and everyone's screaming, then they're relieved, then they're screaming, then they're relieved, and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and it's actually pretty clever. And so Negaduck finally pulls the switch, and everyone starts, you know, the death traps are going on, and Gizmoduck's getting fried, and Neptunia's getting fried, and Morgana's head's getting crushed, and Segma can't breathe. It looks bad.
Yeah, it looks really bad.
It looks really bad. And then, did you catch the line from Negaduck? Now it's time to say goodbye to all our company. You do know what that's from, right?
No.
The Mickey Mouse Club end theme. Now it's time to say goodbye to all our company.
The old theme. Yeah.
M-O-U-S-E. And Negaduck says that. Straight out Mickey Mouse Club shout out.
I didn't catch that.
Oh, it's cool. He grabs he grabs a chainsaw, and he's like a hair away from slicing Darkwing apart. Mm-hmm. And what happens before he can do it?
Morgana finally comes through, man.
Yep. What does she do?
She turns the chainsaw into a yak.
There we go. Running gag pays off. The yak crushes Negaduck.
Hmm.
So Darkwing destroys the device that was gonna, the switch. He kills that machine,
You see the
and he
gas
saves it.
gun with it.
Yep, he destroys it with the gas gun, and he saves everybody. He uses the gas gun. He destroys the machine with it, and he saves Morgana, saves everybody else, and there we go. We get the big scene.
Yeah, finally the scene. The Justice Ducks are a symbol. Fearsome Five is a symbol, and then it's an all-out brawl, man.
Right. And they do like a Western. Like it's really great. And everyone starts fighting.
Well, you know
It's
what
just
that
it's
theme was, though, right? With the Western,
yeah, I know what it is.
it's the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Right. Yup. And so yeah, everyone starts fighting. Like
Mhm.
all hell breaks loose pretty much.
Mhm.
So one by one, the good guys manage to defeat each of the bad guys. First up is Megavolt. No, actually, back up a little bit. Neptunia does the whirlpool thing again with Liquidator.
Yeah.
And Liquidator crashes right into Megavolt, so Megavolt's down for the count really fast though. I kind of wish Megavolt lasted a little bit longer in this episode. So yeah, Megavolt's out, and what's next?
Uh,
Who gets beat next? It's Bushroot, right?
yeah.
Gets
Bushroot gets
Bushroot.
beat by
Stegmont.
Stegmont.
Yeah, Stegmont gets him by the neck, and then doesn't know what to do with him.
Oh yeah, they get another gag coming back.
Yep, another gag that pays off. Let's
Mhm.
pretend Mr. Bushroot's on fire.
Put
Take it
out
away,
the
Will.
Bushroot. Put out the Bushroot. Put out the Bushroot.
Right. So next it's Gizmoduck versus Quackerjack. And Gizmoduck comes out with a dentist drill. So
Yeah.
Quackerjack's toy teeth thrown away. But then what happens to Quackerjack?
He loses his teeth too.
His teeth rip right out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And Gizmoduck goes, maybe some anesthetic first, and knocks him out with a boxing glove. And so last it's Morgana versus Liquidator.
Mhm.
And she's trying to turn him into pudding and just can't do it. She
Yeah,
gets
she's missing.
she turns something into a Easter Island statue, a fat Swiss man with
Mhm.
an accordion. She just can't do it. Like she's trying to turn him into pudding, she just can't. And so Darkwing takes a box of pudding, Morgana zaps it right over to Liquidator, and for the first time really, Darkwing and Gizmoduck team up.
You know, I'm gonna backtrack you for a second. This is my assumption of what happened. I thought she made Darkwing invisible for him to sneak up on Liquidator to pour it on him. Is that not what happened?
No, he pulls out the box of pudding and she zaps the pudding right over Liquidator's head.
Okay.
And
Okay, go ahead.
that is what happens. That is
Okay.
what happens. And so Darkwing and Gizmoduck pull out their mixers and turn them into chocolate pudding.
Yeah.
And that's the end of Liquidator. So yeah, all the other guys are beaten. So it's down to the fearsome one. So Negaduck
Negaduck.
leaves, shuts the door, and before Darkwing can say "Let's get dangerous," he opens the door and gets blown away by a cannon.
Oh yeah, he looks kind of like a Megatron, but without the black mask.
Yeah, a little bit. Right, you're
A
right.
little bit, kind of. He really did, man.
So here's a bit of cartoon logic. Negaduck runs into the elevator. Everybody runs into the elevator with him. We cut to the top floor. The elevator opens, and Negaduck is still running away from them. So all 6 of them were together on the elevator the entire time.
Mhm. I didn't even realize that, but now that you said it, I remember that. Like because I remember he came running out of the elevator, and they were like, they just opened the door and stood by the door.
But the entire time they were together in that elevator doing nothing. And you're not even supposed to think about it, but that's the joke. And it's funny. It's just straight out cartoon logic. I love it. So Negaduck stands on the edge of the building and says if he presses the button on the remote, he's going to close the electric slave device and crush Saint Canard.
Mm-hmm.
And he says he's going to do it anyway. So before he presses the button, I want you to take this next scene from here, Will.
Oh, he falls. he actually. Well, what did Darkwing do to get him to fall to go further off the ledge?
All 5 of them jump him and go, no!
Oh yeah, that's right. So he starts falling down, and he bumps into. Well, he runs into the electrical wire halfway down as he's falling off the roof. But before that happened, Darkwing is already making a plan to get his revenge.
Ground floor coming up.
Yeah, he's going running down the floor, and then boom, when Negaduck bounces off the electrical wires, he bounces back to the window where Darkwing is, and first we get a pie in his head. Then
not too bad.
Not too bad. He falls back down to the wire, comes back to the window the second time. Now we get a flower pot. Down to the wire. The third time, the anvil. This is where it's going to start hurting. The wire.
The third anvil in this story.
Yep. He goes down to the wire again. The fourth time, we get a money safe.
Mm-hmm.
He goes down to the wire again. And then finally, the fifth and final time, we get the weights.
You know what? I'll say this about Negaduck. The guy is tough. The guy is terrifying. The guy is straight out evil. But as much as he's like the ultimate villain, Negaduck gets the most humiliating defeats.
Oh, but it's not even over yet. Darkwing's still not done with him.
Not even done.
So finally he misses the electrical wire, and Darkwing's down there with the dumpster from the very beginning. And as soon as Negaduck's about to land in it, Darkwing pulls off.
Yep. Negaduck crashes right into the cement. Leaves a Negaduck-shaped hole in the ground. Yeah. And that's not even the end. As he's crawling out of the hole, the remote control hits him on the head.
Yeah. Oh man. So okay. I don't want to get too, because I want to say that for my analysis of the whole episode. But go ahead. Then we get Darkwing. He wants to go on his date now with Morgana.
Yeah, and he has some humility because Gizmoduck says, I thought you didn't want to be a team. Mm-hmm. Darkwing goes, I didn't say that out loud. And we get another callback, another running gag. He says, "Job well done, Justice Ducks," and Neptunia goes, "But we're not ducks." Oh yeah. And Stegma goes, "I used to be." And so he's ready to go on his date with Morgana. And I don't know what's up with Gizmoduck. He wants to go on the date with them.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Like, Gizmoduck oversteps a boundary here.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of cool how they set this up.
Yeah, this was a cool ending.
So he pushes Gizmoduck away, and the screen goes black. Only Darkwing's still in the shot. Mm-hmm. He's the only thing left in the shot. The screen goes black, and just as he walks away, you hear Stegma. Mm-hmm. And the little iris opens up, the top left corner of the screen. Stegma pops up because we have one loose end. We haven't tied yet. What is that loose end?
His change.
The change. He hasn't gotten the change. So he throws the quarter at Darkwing. Darkwing thinks about it and gives it back.
Yeah.
After all of that, he doesn't even take the change. And the perfect ending. Darkwing goes arm in arm with Morgana, walks off for their date.
All right, so Mike, that's Justice Ducks Part 2. We have finished it.
Yeah, it's truly, put those episodes together. It's the best 45 minutes of Darkwing Duck, I'm going to say. Yeah, it truly is.
This was to me like a great breakout episode for Jim Cummings. Even just as Darkwing, seeing him sad and moping around and getting the ending, his voice changing and how high pitched and how he gets so excited, to be involved in this. And
how angry he was in the last episode too.
Yeah. And
he never gets that angry.
Yeah. And then, this is where you really get the separation of Negaduck and Darkwing,
Oh yeah. So, you really didn't get much of that idea in the last episode, but here, Negaduck comes into his own super fast.
Yeah, man. The villains, they're kind of short-timed in it, but it's well done.
Right.
I know people will complain, I wish Megavolt was in it more. I wish Quackerjack was in it more, but you can't really space it out because this is Negaduck's breakout episode in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of like when you watch the movies like the Avengers and Justice League, you may be a fanboy of Batman or Flash, but you're not going to get them on screen all the time. It can't happen,
Yeah, I know there are people who have taken like Endgame and Infinity War and actually plotted out how much screen time each character gets.
Mm-hmm. And I think they're all well done. And they really showed the villain's strength on all these episodes because the good guys really... in all the battles, the good guys always start off good, but then the villains finished it and got the job done until the very end.
Right.
So I really like that. I know, like we said earlier, most people favor the heroes in Marvel's Avengers and DC's Justice League, but I think like Star Wars, this is the one time people really tend to join the villain side.
Yeah, Darkwing Duck is all about the villains. I
Hmm.
mean, as much as we all love Launchpad Goslin and Darkwing, but the villains make the show,
Hmm.
and there's no denying that.
Yeah. Now I know you're not a big Stegmutt fan. I'm not either. But I do like Neptunia a little bit, even though I know she only shows up one more time. I liked how they used her that one episode to build her up for this one.
Right. Right. What I think we should do is let's start throwing out our gas canister ratings. It'll
Okay.
make it a lot easier to discuss this topic.
Okay. Um,
Let's start with the episode itself.
okay. This episode, I like the first one better, and I gave the first one a 5. This one by itself, I would give it a 4.5. But putting them together, I don't want to say, well, let's do the average 4.8, 4.7. I don't want to do all that.
Right.
I'm just gonna do it together because from beginning to end, I enjoy it all. And on the second part, I love Negaduck's breakout. I just love it. And then like I love how the villains realize, hey, let's kill him. That scene when you hear all of them, and like you said, Banana Brain finally gets his own shine too in here.
Mm-hmm.
I like it, so I'm just gonna give it a 5, man.
Me too. It's I think the first one is a tiny bit stronger because it's a little bit more focused on Darkwing
Hmm.
and his story and just how cool it is to see these villains show up in the first place.
Hmm.
Um, but this one is still strong because a lot of it is because of Negaduck.
Yeah.
Like I would say the first episode was Darkwing's show easily.
Hmm.
This one is Negaduck's show, and he's such a fantastic character right out of the gate that this episode's an automatic 5 just because of him.
Hmm.
And like I said, the entire story to me is a 5, both
Hmm.
episodes together. Although I do think the first episode's a tiny bit stronger, but they're both just as good. Like I
Hmm.
said, the consistency, like the fact that the first episode is introducing running gags in its first 3 minutes that pay off at the end of this one, that's fantastic writing.
Hmm.
Like they plotted this like one full episode. These two episodes are plotted as one story.
Yeah.
That
I,
was
I
really smart.
I like the animation. I would have preferred though your two favorite ones, the Japanese or Australian one though.
Japan could have handled it better. I think this would have been too much for Australia to handle. Back in the day when you threw too much work at Australia, too much
Hmm.
to do, they had a hard time handling it because they were a newer studio. But in Japan, they're machines, those animators. If Japan had gotten these 2 episodes, they would have been amazing. But they didn't get it, and I could think of worse than Sunwoo.
Yeah.
Could have been worse. Could have been Kennedy,
Hmm.
which it wouldn't have been. There's no way Tad Stones would have let that happen.
Yeah.
But Sunwoo's fine. I can't knock the animation. It's fine. You know?
Hmm.
And so instead of rating specific characters this time, I know last week we said we would do Negaduck. We're not gonna do Negaduck. We're gonna rank the teams themselves.
Okay.
Which one do you want to start with?
Well, if let's go with the heroes. Let's do it backwards this time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, you start with this one.
Okay, with the heroes, I'm gonna give them a 4. The reason why I'm gonna give them a 4 because Darkwing and Gizmo can hold his own too. Even though he got caught, Gizmoduck is not a weak hero at all. Morgana, she's still developing, but she's very useful. She could screw you up at times. Who was Stegmutt? I know you don't like Stegmutt,
Stegmutt's
but
a big green waste of space.
he could be useful if he wasn't so dumb though, because he's so strong. So I don't know if they were going like with Transformers there with Grimlock. You know how Grimlock's the leader of the Dinobots, but he's so
Right.
strong, but he's so dumb. I didn't know if that was kind of like the metaphor here. Neptunia, I like her because she's the perfect battle for Liquidator. That was just smart. That was perfect. Um, yeah, I gotta go with 4 though because they kind of get their butts kicked.
I'm gonna be a little bit less generous.
Hmm.
I'm going for 3.
Okay.
I can totally get why they never use this team again. I have a couple of reasons for that. I'm gonna go into it.
Okay.
When you take the 5 of them, there's only 2 true superheroes in this team. When
Yeah.
you get really down to it, there's only 2 superheroes in this team: Darkwing and Gizmoduck. They're the only 2 that go out looking for trouble. The other 3, Stegmund is not a hero. He's, like I said, it's a big green waste of space with the mind of a child. He isn't a superhero.
Mm-hmm.
Neptunia doesn't want to be a hero. Like, she even rejects the name Justice Ducks. All she cares about is punishing humans for pollution. And then Morgana's not really, I wouldn't even say she's a superhero either. She's a witch, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they're not really they're only a superhero team because of circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have to be. Because if they didn't, the Fearsome Five would win. And I feel like, how would you use them again? Think about it. The entire story arc, the only character that goes through a true story arc is Darkwing. He has to get used to being a team player.
Mm-hmm.
But you can tell this isn't something he'd want to do over and over again, because he'd have to put up with Gizmoduck and Stegmund over and over. So they couldn't rehash that same story of Darkwing not being a team player, you know? So I totally get why they only use these guys once. And I don't know if you ever heard about this. The Justice Ducks were going to come back in their own television series.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, Tad Stones wanted to do not Tad Stones. He wasn't going to be in charge of the show. Someone else was going to be a story runner for it. The new version of Justice Ducks, you know which characters were going to be in it?
No.
Nobody but Darkwing and Gizmoduck. The other characters were new.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite. You know who one of the characters were? The rubber chicken from Mutancy on the Bouncy. And 2 brand new characters. They were not going to use Morgana, Stegma, and Neptunia. Mm-hmm. That should give you some idea. You know?
Yeah.
The idea of Justice Ducks, I think, is interesting, but not that combination of characters. I can't imagine it being something that would have continued to work.
Okay.
But for this story, it's fine. But I got to give the team a 3. Because it's like, and again, I'm not a big fan of Stigma and Neptunia. A lot of my score comes from how much I love Gizmoduck, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Moving on to a little bit more positivity for me. The Fearsome Five.
Oh, yeah. All right, you go first on this one.
I'm giving him a 5. You know, because you got Quackerjack, Megavolt, and Negaduck in that group. Mm-hmm. And I love Bushwood and Liquidator, so how can you not go lower than 5? You know? Yeah. They're a fun collection of villains. You know, they play off each other so well.
Do you think they didn't choose like Steelbeak and all of them because they were foul?
Yeah, definitely foul.
Okay.
I can't imagine that really working as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm on. To me, it's an easy 5, man.
Yeah.
It's an easy 5.
How could you not?
Yeah, you know, like they're already well. All 4 of the villains are great already, and then you bring in Negaduck. It's just, man, I don't even know how to discuss and debate and or even prove myself on my score. Yeah. It's too easy.
The only thing, like I said last time, is that the Fearsome Five never reaches this level of effectiveness ever again. Mm-hmm. You know, this is the only time they're working together as a true unit and actually succeed in something. Mm-hmm. You know, Life in Negaverse and everything, he clearly hates them, you know, and he wants nothing to do with them. And in Jailbird, Darkwing beats them really easily, and Negaduck is only interested in their powers. This is the one time the actual Fearsome Five is a cohesive group that actually take over, say, Canard.
Yeah.
You know?
Because I really like how they showed each one of their strengths. Even though it was really quick, you saw it, you know?
When they are working together and when they're competent and they're working together, they do work together really well.
Yeah, because the first episode really showing them teamed up together, and then the second episode it kind of showed them separated, you know, but they were still holding their own, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. But it plants that seed that the four of them don't really trust Negaduck, and he's not very fond of them either. That seed is planted in this episode. But, they build on it. So yeah, the Fearsome Five get a 5 from me. How can you not give the Fearsome Five a 5?
All right,
But,
so Mike, that's Justice Ducks Part 2, man. What episode we got next?
Well, one that's nowhere near as good as the ones we've talked about lately. How much do you like Jambalaya Jake?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of his much.
Yeah, he's back. Recently a website called Screen Rant ranked the top 10 worst Darkwing episodes based on IMDb ratings. Do you know which one got the honor of being the number 1 worst Darkwing episode?
Which one?
Next week's.
Oh, really? Next week is what? Double Darkwings?
Double Darkwings, yeah. It's I liked Can't Buy You Love because it was animated in Japan. This one isn't so lucky. But we'll talk about it. You know what? They really built up the last 4 weeks to Justice Ducks. Giving us Quackerjack, giving us all those Megavolt and Bushroot episodes. We're not going to see a single Fearsome Five member for the next 10 episodes in a row.
Oh my goodness, are you serious?
Yeah, they have a lot of weaker episodes to burn off now.
Okay.
So we're getting, I wouldn't say mediocrity because that's very, very hard. I really don't want to use that term. But the next batch of episodes, we're kind of dipping quite a bit before we pick back up.
Okay, so we reached the height for a little while. Now we got to calm down a little bit, huh?
Yeah, both on the Disney afternoon and on Saturday morning. The next couple of Saturday morning episodes aren't all that hot either. So we dip a little bit, but when we go back up, which will be a few months from now, but when we go back up, it's going to be fantastic. We need that breather from Justice Ducks. We definitely do.
Yeah.
And we're also after Double Darkwings, we start getting into rerun territory too. So we don't have as many episodes in a row, at this point.
Okay.
So yeah, we talked as much about Justice Ducks as I think as anybody ever has. So.
All right. So I still got a while for playtime again.
Yeah, you know what? Things start picking back up when we finally get back to Quackerjack.
Woohoo!
Yeah, so his next one is a Whiffle While You Work, but we have about 10 or so episodes between us and that.
Okay, well at least I got a sneak peek of him before Justice Ducks, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It won't be long before you get tons of Quackerjack and Negaduck. They're coming in volume soon.
So Mike, where can they listen to the podcast at, man?
Spotify, Stitcher, Apple devices, Google Play, Radio Public, Pocket Cast. We're over on YouTube and Amazon Echo. Yeah. As we mentioned last week. So all you have to do is talk into your Alexa and it will play the episode for you.
Yeah, there you go, man. And also make sure y'all follow us on Facebook. We're St. Canard Files. Yeah, and on Instagram. We're St. Canard Files on Instagram. I might create us a Twitter page, man.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah. As always, guys, we really appreciate y'all. And I have to apologize. I didn't really take time to look up to give anyone a shout out this time. I apologize for that. But I gave 4 last time, and Mike gave 1. So we gave you 5.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we can get a break on this one. So cut me some slack. And guys, I appreciate all the likes and stuff, but I really, really would like for you guys to comment a little more and participate in conversations. So if you don't mind, please do. Even if you don't like something about the podcast or the page, say it. If you like something, let us know so we know we're doing something right,
Come on, guys. If you comment and participate, we'll give you a free quarter and some pudding. Maybe a yak. And some anvils is plenty to go around. But no, seriously, we love it if you guys were a little bit more active. Just like whenever we post that the new episodes have dropped, you can use that thread to talk about the episodes. We would love that.
Yeah, man.
That's Will.
Yeah, just one last thing I want to say to all the people who listen to our podcast, man. Show some of the other guys some love who had involvement in the cartoon of Darkwing, like the writers, the animators, people who did musical scores. Show them some love. The voice actors, I know they're most people's favorite. I know they're the singer, the head leader of the band. I get that, but hey, show the drummer, the bass player, and them some love too,
Yeah. You know what? It takes an entire group of people to make a show.
Mm-hmm.
So that said, we'll catch you guys next time with some Cajun goodness.
All right, guys. Yeah, we're signing out, and stay dangerous.
Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Meet St. Canard's Most Wanted.
Eat wanted, Darkwing!
There's Megavolt, criminal circuit breaker.
It's playtime!
Quacker Jack, fiendish felon. Bushroot, experiment gone haywire.
I'm really not sinister, just misunderstood.
And diabolical evildoer Negaduck.
A rotten kind of guy!
And only one superhero can stop them.
The original Mr. Fix-It! Get up!
Darkwing Duck.